and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, this is Dorian.
And this is Miss MVP.
And welcome back to another episode of the Convos in the Park podcast.
Good morning, good evening, and good night. How is everyone doing today?
I hope everyone is doing well.
I am. I'm a little upset.
Why are you upset?
Well, Charlie left me. Charlie Chaplin's gone, guys.
Charlie Chaplin had a good reason to leave. A very, very good reason to leave.
I enjoyed him. That's okay. We're gonna get you a little miniature one to put up there.
Negative Ghost Rider, no.
Just for the show.
No. No, there's no way in the world that is ever coming back. That was a slight accident by me. Didn't have the proper lighting while I was shaving, and I fixed the error.
I think it was on purpose. But anyway, we have a great episode for you guys this week. It was right on time for Black History Month, and it is geared towards the Black families, right?
Yes.
What are we calling this episode?
This one will be dedicated to the Black mothers.
Awesome. So we have a 4-part series. So sit back, relax, come back every week, and let's get this conversation started. We are gearing the Black mothers,
Yes.
Black fathers, Black children, and the Black village. So it's a long series, but it's going to be worth it while. And, get the pot stirred, get the conversation going.
Oh, yes, indeed. And I think this is something that's well overdue, even though it is hitting for Black History Month. But here at Convos in the Park, I believe that every day is Black History Month.
Yeah, I am definitely Black History every day.
So speaking of, since we're going to go and get into the Black mothers, since we have one sitting here.
Who you talking about? Not my mama.
I do want to, before we get really deep into the conversation, I do want to ask a question. In regards to being a Black mother, what has been your biggest struggle being a Black single mother?
My biggest struggle is I have a son.
Mm-hmm.
So he's born with a target on his back.
Yeah.
You have to teach him basically how to code switch at a very early age. Because you have your family who you're comfortable with,
yeah,
and things can be said and done in house. Then you have your friends and your extended family where yes, things can and no, things cannot.
Right.
You have to learn how to code switch. And then he has school.
Right.
You have neighborhood, and we live in a very diverse neighborhood where one of my neighbors is of Asian descent. We have Caucasians. We have everybody in our neighborhood. And so having to teach him how to do that and still have a sense of identity is hard.
Yeah.
It's real hard. Now, granted, his father teaches him things that I wouldn't dare try to even understand as a male, because you guys have a target on your back. We have one, but ours is more able to absorb more.
Right.
And y'all target is on the surface.
Right. And even that you teach them how to code switch, doesn't it sometimes seem like, well, at least looking at it from my perspective, I know for us growing up, yeah, it was just something that was, automatically taught by us, tradition and everything else like that. But like you said, for him to have an identity of himself, do you find it harder to teach him the code switch and vice just to be himself and let the world adapt to him?
Yes and no, because he has several cultures in his bloodline. Mm-hmm. So he has to adapt to many cultures. So it's okay on certain things, but other times, yes, people are adapt to him.
Right.
But like I said, he's A, black, has a target. B, he's bigger than most kids his age. He's almost 5 foot tall and he's 9. So he's already he's brown. He's big. So you gotta teach him how to, you gotta smile. You have to be a gentle giant. And you should not have to, because the color of his skin should not make him dangerous at such a young age. But that's just our day and time. Now, granted, my daughter has it slightly easier. Younger girls have it slightly easier. Yeah. But not all the time.
Right.
And when I say slightly easier, because when the girls have basically in society a hierarchy system when it comes to your skin color.
True.
So slightly easier because she's in the middle, but she's also a easygoing right now.
Right.
So, but she's a lot younger than him. But yeah, it's definitely something worth going through.
And also, dealing with issues like that, and of course, with being a single mother, the biggest stereotype that most black women have to battle, which is unfortunate, is the stereotype of being the bitter single mother or bitter baby mama, whichever way you have to take it. Have you come across seeing that yourself? Or, I'm pretty sure you may have had some friends that may have, talked about, dealing with that kind of conflict.
So what you're asking is, am I bitter, or do I come across people saying I'm bitter?
No, well, me knowing you, I don't think of you as the bitter baby mama or bitter single mother. But have you come across, people
that may think
that? Yeah.
Oh yeah, definitely. You have people who are gonna judge you no matter what.
Right.
But anyone who knows me knows that I'm really pretty easygoing. This will probably be not to toot my own horn, but this will probably be the less stressful relationship that you would have if we have kids or not. And by the way, we're not having any kids. But I have come across people who have looked at me a certain way, depending on if they know me or if they know my kids' fathers or not. So you have people who will judge you from the inside out,
right,
and people who will judge you from the outside in. But you have to, I'm not gonna say you have to put on a glamour or anything, but you just have to know who your circle is,
right,
and who you can trust with your information and who not to trust with your information. And that goes into ties with your black village. Who is there? Who is your support system when you need mental health and so forth?
Yeah, definitely. One other question I do have is, do you feel, and sometimes even with, being a single mother or co-parent or, in those situations, do you feel like having the father around is very important? Because I know that, there are some women out there that'll say, oh, well, I can do it on my own. The daddy don't need to be around. But, you also have those that'll say that, yeah, whether or not they're with with the child's father, it is important for him to be around.
Yes. Now, I think that if the father isn't around, a strong male figure should be around, whether
right,
it's an uncle or a close family friend, grandfather, whoever.
Right.
So, me growing up in the house with two parents, I saw the dynamic shift a lot when it was being in a authority position with my dad and my mom. Hey, who handles this? Who handles that?
Right.
And the kids kind of learn. I'm not gonna say better, because it could be a toxic situation where the father dominates over the mother right, all of the time, or vice versa. So it just depends on how balanced that family is, to me. But the benefit of having a 2-parent or mother-father relationship in the house with the child is good. Right. Now, that's not to say that you can't be single and co-parent and still have the relationship outside the house.
Right.
So, I mean, you can still be that and still be the other, because you have to look at this. Just because you got 2 parents in the house does not mean that it's right. Some people stay for the children.
Yeah.
Some people stay for the convenience. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that bleeds into the kids also, if it's not good. Just to say that it's a 2-parent household is not always good.
Right.
Because you got a lot of single married people out there who husband or wives are out doing work, whether it's career or whoring off. You see, just because you married don't mean
right. Yeah.
it's gonna be A1.
Yeah, that's true.
So.
All right, now when it comes to, and we're getting into the children a little bit more. What are the kind of things that you feel like you want to instill into your children?
Definitely have confidence.
Definitely, yeah.
And like I said a couple episodes ago, say it. Even if you think the answer gonna be no or your voice shakes, say it. Just say it. And I preach that to my children. Mama, you gonna say no anyway. You don't know that. Say it. Get it off your chest. Don't let it fester.
Right.
So have confidence. There are gonna be people in the world who don't like you just because you are you. So do that. I have people who don't know me and don't like me, but I'm okay with that because my name scares them. Why does my name bring so much fear and temptation to you? Or why does these 7 letters in my first name make your blood boil and you know nothing about me? Now, granted, I'm not gonna toot my own horn again.
Sounds like you are.
Once you get to know me, I am very lovable, but don't let my name and my face intimidate you. I have a bad ass resting bitch face. Don't let it scare you. I just look like this. But it's But yeah, definitely have confidence and say what you have to say. If no one hears your voice, no one knows what's on your mind.
That's true. That is true.
And believe me, that little girl of mine, woo, she used all her words daily. Daily.
And speaking of using words, I mean, when it comes to that as well, the biggest thing that we come across as far as things in the Black community is education. Sometimes either based on where we are geographically in our cities, or maybe some different. Maybe we have opportunities in other places. But what has been the biggest struggle for you when it comes to that you've seen so far as education, whether it be at the actual school, daycare, or even the interaction that you have here at the house, where you have an opportunity to teach them something?
Let's come back to that. Let's come back to that one. I'm not fond of the public school education system, but I'm also not fond of the private school education. Private school education is like a country club for education. You're only gonna get in if you can, you will, you are you capable of. So I don't see where that's based off of the education. The public school education system have produced some of the greatest minds out there. Writers, producers, actors.
Right.
I'm not knocking the public school system in any state. But I believe that the American school system needs to step up a lot.
Yes.
I was looking at something on I want to say YouTube. I had to look up something for my son, And so I went to go and look it up and see how I could explain it to him. And I came across an educational video, and I'm like, this child is 7 years old. This child is speaking 3 different languages. This child has been reading since he was 17, 18 months old. And granted, kudos to the parents or guardian who's doing that, but these countries allow the foundation to be set, because some of them don't have to go back to work until the child is of 18 to 24 months.
Yeah.
America wants you back in 6 weeks.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? So how can a country this vast and air quotes rich with the land of opportunity be this far behind in education? Because of what? Immigrants.
Yeah.
But that's a different topic.
Yeah. Different.
That's a different topic. So
that's a deeper, darker criminal link there.
Exactly. So it's the education system to me is a joke. We have to do what we have to do to get our kids some type of head up in certain things, but that goes back to the foundation of education, those fundamental years in a child. American parents can't offer that, because 6 to 12 weeks you either back at work, unemployed, or you are employed but you gotta work a minimum job in order to be there for your children. So you damn if you do and you damn if you don't.
Yeah, and that's always the biggest struggle. And doubling back on that, when it comes to work, you know, what has been the biggest difficulties you faced while dealing with that situation of trying to balance out work and home life? I
balance pretty well. I haven't found any challenges except for when you have when you can't find sporting activities where both of them will be able to do things together or do things at the same park or venue. That becomes a struggle, and that's when you rely on your village to, hey, can you go to this game, or can you help me with this? Or if the mom or dad has to work, then another family member have to step up and say, yes, I can do this. Or if not, the child misses out on things. So I had that. That was a big challenge for me when my kids were old enough to do activities like that.
And speaking of the support system, not to get too deep in the personal, but how good was your support system overall?
For myself or for myself and my kids?
Yourself and your kids.
Oh, I have a great support system. I wouldn't have it no other way, because when I became pregnant, I let everybody in my life know at that moment, I'm pregnant. What we gonna do? Not what am I gonna do? What we gonna do? What shift you gonna take? But on all of that, but it's definitely something that you have to wrap your head around when you are keeping friends, lifetime friends. You definitely have to know that person, each friend has their lane. Whether you got one friend or 5 close, 10 close, or whatever, each person's skill set. Who's gonna be able to do X, Y, Z. I have one friend, she says, don't call me during an emergency. There's nothing I can do. I'm going back to sleep. She will tell you that quick. And I also have one friend who, oh my God, call me. So you have those people who I wouldn't dare call my sister in a life or death emergency. Until everything got under control. I just wouldn't, because she doesn't. She's okay during stressful situations, but oh my God. I won't say dramatic because I don't want to hurt her feelings, but close relation. So you have to have that. You got to know everybody has their own lane. I had a great support system from my family and friends, and My dad was a great big help. My mom, what she could do, she did do.
Right.
But they are definitely papa's grandchildren. They love their grandfather. So
right.
yeah.
All right, and going into that, the dating scene, how difficult has that been?
Would we like to talk about the success or the unsuccess?
We can go the whole spectrum.
I hadn't had any complaints. Hey, can we go out on the date? Children don't even have to be involved. Don't pop up with me no last minute crap. So when you set your standards and set your guidelines,
right,
those who want to comply will get in line. So other than that, I don't have any issues. After my dad passed away, it's still kind of fresh. I do have an issue with that, but I'm not focusing on dating right now. I'm kind of, just content with being with my family, especially during COVID. Fuck you. Fuck you. But yeah, so it's definitely something that you have to look forward to. But once you set your guidelines and your standards and you say, I'm gonna do this with a purpose.
Right.
If I'm gonna date for fun, let the other party know. If I'm dating to become into a long-term relationship, let the person know. Don't just assume that the other person wants the same thing.
Right.
Somebody will get their feelings hurt and some things ain't gonna work out. So
Right.
I let up front know, this is the cup of tea. Would you like to sip?
Right. Okay. Also, well, since you kind of touched on it a little bit with COVID, your experience, especially, I know with Alabama, especially during, I think when everything really started hitting, y'all went to homeschool, right? Well, not homeschool, but virtual learning, right?
Yes, that happened on St. Patrick's Day or the day after. And it was funny because I won a bet that day. We took a bet from the first case that we heard when I was at work. I said, oh yeah, right after Mardi Gras. Mm-hmm. And I picked the date. I said, that's going to be the date that the Alabama shut down right there. And I felt like I was kind of right. But yeah, we went straight to school, homeschool. It was kind of like a panic.
Right.
I remember going to purchase 2 more laptops and try to get myself situated because I had to start working from home. So it was from March to May that they were virtual.
Right.
And then you had May, June, July, August that they were summer. And then you had school start in the middle of August.
Right.
So, and then they went virtual for so many weeks after the next school year. But I do know that a lot of parents worry about the kids falling behind because of the virtual learning.
Right.
Not everybody has the capability of comprehending a lot of things. So when you have older siblings who are at home, in my opinion, it's only my opinion, when you have older siblings who are at home and you have younger kids who are at home, that kind of puts pressure on the parents.
Right.
Because they don't want to leave the younger kids at home with the older kids so they can go to work.
Right.
So you put them in a pickle to say, okay, well, who's going to do what? Especially coming from a single mom.
Right.
I know families who are dealing with the same thing. You have a 2-parent household, both parents work. You have a child who's in high school, middle school, and you got 2 in elementary school. What do?
Yeah.
It's unfair to the high schoolers.
Yeah.
To watch after the younger ones, but the younger ones are also too young to be left alone to handle schoolwork by themselves.
Yeah.
So it's a real stretch for families. It's a real stretch for schools. The teachers have done a tremendous job with adapting.
Yeah.
There are some that are not putting forth the best effort.
Yes, that is very true.
You know who you are. But I blame that part on the principals for not at least going through the recordings to see what the teachers are doing, how long they're spending on the lessons. There are some teachers who go over and beyond. My son's teacher, she makes an effort to have what's called small groups where she may cut their PE time short, and she pulls them and have individual times with them, whether it's 15, 20 minutes or 30 minutes, which I think is good.
Yeah.
Because they're at home, they're going to go outside and play and so forth, so they can have physical activity. They just have to allot that time. So you have teachers who are going above and beyond. You have some teachers just doing the bare minimum just to say they held class for the day. But I feel that some kids are going to just get pushed through. And it's unfair to those who are working. It's unfair to the teachers who are busting their ass to teach, and the next teacher is just pushing her kids through. Now, each teacher does know their students' capability.
Or should.
They should. Just like a parent should know their child.
Yeah.
So you may give them an extra point here and there to just get them to the next grade level, but you have, again, teachers who are busting their ass to make sure that their 20, 25 kids are learning and comprehending the education. So it's definitely something that has to be worked out. But with that being said, that heifer that was over the education superintendent, Bessie DeVos, she's that no more. Yeah. She turned her resignation a couple weeks ago, so she's that no more.
Yeah, thank goodness for that. She was horrible, but even with education, I know it's been difficult for parents during this pandemic, but I can remember my mother was the strictest.
Yeah.
On education. She always made sure that her children did their best. And she was one of those parents. I mean, she may not have went to every PTA meeting, but best believe she was going to go to any parent-teacher conference that was available and get the full dirt on what her son was doing. And boy, well, I'll say from kindergarten up until maybe
senior year.
No. From kindergarten all the way up until ninth grade. I was good, they had the teachers. Oh, Dorian was so good. Here's his reports, 10th grade hit, boy, it was a totally different side of Dorian.
So you start acting the ass when your hormones came in. Your hormone monster.
Pretty much, because, boy, I swear, my 10th grade year, I was going to Manhattan Center for Science and Mathematics.
So you name dropping?
Okay, just once.
Bougie. Boo.
But around that time, I knew from my first to fourth period, I knew the report's going to be great. It was after lunch that I didn't want my mother to go to, so I was like, okay, I was trying to find a way. I was like, okay, well, teachers are busy, let's go ahead and go. My mother was like, we about to go to every grade and every block and make sure that you were covered. So by the time she got to my social studies teacher, boy, that's when the bomb started dropping.
Social studies was one of my favorite subjects.
I liked it, but at that time I just wasn't trying to be at school. I wasn't. So by the time the social studies teacher saw me and my parents walk in, she looked at me. She told the parents she was talking to at the moment, "Excuse me. Hey, Dorian, nice to see you after so long."
And your dad had his face on. Yeah.
But no, my father didn't show up to that one.
Oh, okay.
So it was just me and my mama. But,
oh, so she had her face on.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, Mom.
So just to say, but. Yeah, I heard the worst of it, but again, as long as I was doing what I was supposed to do as far as education, it was no problem. I was, she let me do the track team and everything else. But once the grades started declining, no track, no drawing.
So with you being, you tackled the single father for a year.
Well, a year, some change.
Going over from taking your daughter to school to being thrown into virtual for a couple of months. How did that? What was the coming from? I know this is ahead of the game, single father, but we're talking about education.
Right.
How did that? What was the challenge in that? Going from dropping her off at school, had a routine, or she getting the bus.
Right. She got the bus.
Having a routine to within hours of notification, our lives changed forever.
That was definitely rough. Especially, of course, the school, where I was at in Mississippi, they would send emails, or first we would get the text notifications stating, school would be shut down, this and that. So then after that, then it was just making sure that they actually gave out the Chromebook, so just making the appointment to pick up the Chromebook for school. And the first couple of weeks when they shut down, I was able to take off without any problems from the company. Thank goodness for that. So it was just getting her adjusted to doing the schoolwork, and then once my time off was over, it was again counting on my support system. I reached out to my mother. Hey, Mom, this is what's going on. Can my daughter stay with you while and they pretty much kept on the same schedule that I had her, because it was just. Kept that routine. It was, and of course, it wasn't as strict with the Zoom meetings. Then it was just okay. You need to make sure these assignments are done.
Yeah.
For the week.
They just want to make sure they see everybody.
Yeah. Well, it wasn't even seeing. It was just with the school that she was at. It was just they just gave out assignments, and then you turn them in before Friday. So yeah, just kept on the routine. First thing she wake up, get herself together, and then. She could do schoolwork. Once all the schoolwork was done, that's, was time for, then she could do, whatever.
So let me ask you this. Going back, you have high school, middle schoolers, elementary school.
Yeah.
How would you think that would affect your life if she was younger elementary school? What would your challenge be? Because we have it all around us.
Yeah.
You have it all around us where people are faced with that. The people who wanted to have their kids a year apart are regretting regretting even having, because you got maybe two of them in the same grade.
Yeah.
Right now. Yeah.
So. And if she was younger, I think it would be a little bit more difficult for that focus. Thank goodness by the time, all this stuff hit, she was pretty much... She knew a pattern. She knew what she had to do, so it wasn't much. And by the time I usually got home, 9 times 10, schoolwork was already done unless she had a question for me. Mm-hmm. And like I said, we kept that rhythm. But yeah, being younger, I don't know how I would have dealt with that, because again, I probably would have had to work something out with my job just to be able to be at home, so that way I can give her that focus. Because in those younger years, this just me, myself, I don't like... My responsibility is my children. Mm-hmm. And as much as I have my support system, I don't want the support system to feel like they're the ones raising my kid and I'm just, there, because of my job. So I would have found some way to take off and, work some out to where I can spend the majority of that time, virtually there with my daughter to make sure that she was doing what she was supposed to do and actually learning and not just, going through the motions.
So I was speaking to one of my friends today, and she said something similar to that about, she was like, no, you're doing it as a favor. It's not a requirement to do that. And I was like, it's not as it's a requirement. After she got off her rampage, I was like, yeah, but listen to this. You know what I'm saying? So you have support systems where who's going to be there for welfare checks, mental checks. Do you need anything? You want to go out to eat. You need some quiet time. You need me to help the kids with a project, so forth and so forth. But you also have that support system that said, go. Bring the kids to me. Go take a bath. Yeah. Go for a ride. Go just sit for a minute and clear your head. You have those support systems. So we definitely in these times have to definitely be humble. Yeah. When you have to ask for help, and have a support system that is going to not only check on you, but a support system that is going to call you out. Right. My friends have no problem calling out. No, you need to stop doing this. You need to let somebody else do that. You have to have somebody who's gonna tell you to sit down.
Yeah.
So definitely humbling yourself is another thing. That's your mental health tip for the day. Humble yourself.
Yeah, because I mean, like you said, it can be difficult sometimes, especially not to, again, like, we're not trying to jump episodes, but yeah, it's definitely hard for me to try to deal with certain things as far as making sure that my daughter's taken care of and I'm there and being able to support her any way, shape, form, fashion, whether it be as soon as I get home and she's done her work, she just wants to spend time with daddy. Either playing Fortnite, playing whatever, or outside, throwing the football or playing basketball and stuff like that. But it can be difficult at times, and I try to balance it out, especially with me being in Mississippi by myself for a while. It was just, I just had to be able to, like you said, I had to be able to set that time aside to where I could just breathe.
Yeah. Go to the bathroom. That's somebody knocking on the door 12 seconds later. Goodness. Yeah. So I understand. That support system is, I'm not going to say we use it or abuse it, but we definitely have to be mindful of it. You can't do everything by yourself.
Right.
So it's a lovely thing to have.
Yeah. And we speaking of these times, we're speaking of everything as far as, COVID and everything else. Especially, I know it was different from the way, that probably me and you grew up. But we come into these times where we have to question the experience of our children. Well, I won't say question the experience of our children, but now with, the questions of sexuality and everything else, how would you address or deal with it if if either your children came up to you and said that, they either, claiming another sexuality or, they may have a preference in the same sex?
The question that I will come to them is to make sure that they understand what they are doing. Mm-hmm. Because you don't want them to, I guess, be caught up in a quote unquote trend,
right, of
saying that, and I know that I'm going to hear this and I'm okay with that. I don't want, you have to double check and make sure that they're not on a fad, right, to make sure that just because, like, a girl back in the day, it was sissies or tomboys. That right. was it. Yeah. Now you got 17 categories that somebody can fall under. Yeah. Before it was sissies and tomboys, you had androgynous and bulldaggers. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So pick two. Pick two and stick to it. But hey, do you? But I don't want, that child should not feel like they're in trouble. Mm-hmm. Or they did something wrong. Right. We all go through phases in life. Yeah. Do I feel that a child younger than high school should determine how they feel on the inside and want to get a body image change? No, because I used to dress like a tomboy. I've never been attracted to girls. I've never had a sexual experience with a girl, anything. But that shit was comfortable. And I was okay with that. I didn't care what you thought about me. You know what I'm saying? Like, right. A lot of tomboys do that. Yeah. They go through their little boy phase, and then the first time that the boy that they like say, you cute, is that boy clothes? Where? Like, I'm too cute. Arch my eyebrows. Like, so you got to make sure that that child understands that once they do something, it's not necessarily permanent. Yeah. But once you start bringing knives into the picture, it's permanent. Yeah, it comes permanent, yeah. So weigh out the pros and cons. Let them know, experience. Me, I have not had that that thought, but I do know someone who is going through that. Mm-hmm. And I is with a stepchild, so I don't know the child, or I didn't have to watch the child grow up.
Right.
So it's funny because it's a girl, that she is maturing in her body, but she doesn't like it, and I'm like, she's blossoming, she's becoming a young woman,
right? She's
starting everything at the same time. So I'm like, it may just be a phase.
Yeah,
she was a late bloomer.
Yeah.
She was a late bloomer, so she thought that this was just the wrong body.
That so started developing, period, menstrual cycle, all that's just hit all at once.
Last summer, she did not have many breasts. She didn't have her cycle. She didn't have anything. School started, hormones started, breasts started, everything started, hair started growing everywhere. It's like, wow. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a big bomb to drop. Yeah.
Yeah. So my friend who is the stepfather, he's not responding very well because he doesn't understand. He doesn't have any kids.
Yeah.
He doesn't understand.
Yeah, that's always been the hardest part is,
How would you feel?
I've actually had that conversation. I won't say I had that conversation with my daughter, but like similar to like you said, my youngest, she's a tomboy. She loves sports. She loves video games and stuff like football. That. Yeah, she loves football. So of course with her playing tackle football, that became a question with some of my family members where there'd be, oh, well, okay, she's liking, tackle football. Maybe she's going to end up, being a lesbian and stuff like that. And, I would quickly tell them, like, you can't put her in that box like that because you don't know what could happen. And again, she's still young. So, like you said, it may come to that point where she finally sees that boy that she likes. And then, boom, everything changes. Now she wants to, dress up and impress.
In them titties one good time playing tackle football. She gonna sit her ass down somewhere. And it only took one time for my cousin Blip to tackle me. Rest in peace. I'm like, y'all hit too hard. It's time to stop. I'll watch y'all from the other side of the street. Oh no. It only took one time for you to pop me in my chest. Nah.
Yeah, but similar to you, if she did come to me and start, saying or let me know about certain things. And of course, I think the biggest thing when it comes to that is having that openness to be able to talk about certain things. Because, we, especially when with my generation growing up, you didn't speak unless you were really spoken to, especially when company was around. So, not having that openness can definitely play a huge factor in that. But
the kids are exposed to a lot
more. Yeah.
10 times more than what we were exposed to. So if they can't get it from you or feel like they are able to share things with you, then they're going to go somewhere else or retreat. And I tell my son all the time, he said when he's afraid to ask me a question and then I bring up something gross that he's done, I'm like, if you can show me or tell me this, I'm sure as hell you can ask me if you can have some Oreos. Yeah. You see what I'm saying? So he was like, yes, ma'am. I'm like, you come into the bathroom and show me things or call me into the bathroom with you and show me things. But you can't ask me for this, boy. You better open your mouth.
Yeah.
Tell me anything. And you got to have that open relationship because you don't want that to trickle down to some unwantedness.
Yeah, definitely.
So once you have some unwantedness nippling around, then, it's pretty much downhill from now.
Yeah. And that's the biggest struggle because, as open as my relationship is with my youngest daughter, my oldest daughter, it was, I won't say the complete opposite, but it got to a point where, she didn't feel like she could come to me at all. And it took a while for me to rebuild that with her and just some understanding and everything else. But At the end of the day, I'm glad that I, did take those steps, and it took her just to come to me out of frustration and just, laying it all open.
And sometimes that's what it takes. Pressure busts a pipe.
Yeah.
So you just have to understand that their needs will be met one way or the other, whether it's through you talking to them and understanding or someone else. So
yeah. And even with learning things from someone else, I know, speaking for myself, I was never sat down and had, the quote unquote talk about sexuality.
Oh, you want me to have it with you?
I think it's already way, way, way past that part.
Okay.
But, even with that, with, both your children being young, there's always been a battle about, when's the appropriate time to have, that talk. And even with my oldest daughter, we didn't have it until she started asking or, noticing certain things and then asking us questions.
My son is 9. He's almost 5 foot tall. I called porn on his phone.
Wow.
I immediately told his father, and he said, I need to talk to him. Quickly, please. Please, because I can't handle that pressure. I already said, when I was pregnant, I had already said, I'm going to get his ass a vasectomy because I can't deal with it.
Yeah.
But that's a different conversation. Don't know if that's legal in the United States. Just sad. But, I definitely encourage men not to have that conversation with their daughters before the mom does.
Right.
That's just me. Yeah. Now, if you're in a situation where the mother isn't aware around, get a different female that you trust.
Yeah.
You don't want to be the first person to tell your daughter about sex. It's awkward. No girl wants to know that her dad ever had sex. No girl wants to look at her father and like, oh, you did what? To who? Oh, you don't want to put that image in their head.
Right.
Because my dad told me the night that I was conceived, my daddy told me I was a birthday gift. Calculating from my dad's birthday to my birthday is the gestation period. Every time I look on that calendar, I am reminded the night my mom and my dad had sex. Don't do that.
Wow.
Okay. Yes, Daddy, you did that. You did, and I'm still traumatized. So, yeah, don't do that. Don't have the sex talk with her before her mama does.
Oh, no. When it came to my oldest, mama handled that.
Neither one of them.
Yeah. Oh, no, yeah, definitely. Yeah, mama's handling that part, and then I'll be the follow-up guy afterwards if they got any other questions or stuff like that.
So who sat you down and talked to you, or did you just learn through an internship?
I learned through an internship. No one sat me down. A lot of it was from the streets and from health education.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah, no one sat me down.
You belong to the streets.
Yeah, that's always the roughest part, is trying to deal with that. But I'm glad that I didn't have to deal with all that by myself. And again, once I got older and kind of realized it, then I knew that at that point it was better for me to have went through that, because knowing my parents and the way that they were, I knew that conversation was going to be awkward anyways. And having a mother who was at the time a big holy roller, trying to sit me down and have a conversation about sex, it just wasn't gonna go well at all.
I can only imagine that conversation. Ooh, Mama Mac, yeah, baby. Ooh, yeah, you're right. Go to the library. Go to the library. So,
You better not be out there doing anything unless you're married first and da-da-da-da. No, I didn't want to hear all that.
Nope.
Sex is the devil. No, I don't want to hear all that.
I never really was sat down with about sex. My mom always told me, and this is how I was raised. My brother-in-law said we were very abused and traumatized children. But my mom always told me that if I ended up pregnant, I'm going to the home for unwedded mothers at a very young age, and you're going to stay there till you turn 18 and take care of yourself. So I was damn near 30 when I had my first child. So, boom. She said, y'all gonna graduate without having kids. And we did. We did. My sister, my brother, myself, everybody left high school without having a pregnancy or a pregnancy scare that I know of.
And that is, that's the, now that you're saying that, it just makes me reflect on it, because it's like, yeah, I didn't have my first child until 2008. So even having her, at that age, and even then I was, 27, about to be 28. So yeah, that was the first time I had a child. So, even with the black, well, I won't even say it's not even just in the black community, but overall, having children at a young age, seems like something that we both have deterred from in that essence. Do you think that is it because of education and talks with our children that they end up having babies at a younger age?
I don't know, because kids who, or from growing up, people who we didn't have access to sex education in middle school. There were a lot of teen pregnancies in middle school during my era. So I'm not sure. I knew I never wanted kids. I was going to be the drunk auntie. I was going to be the drunk auntie and, come home during the holidays and send you money and shit you don't need throughout the rest of the year. So I was going to be the bailout. But I don't know. I don't know what makes people have kids young. I really don't. I guess we could do a segment on that and have people email. Maybe we could do a live and talk about that, because it is something that's prevalent. Yeah. It's something that's 9 times out of 10 not going to go away. Yeah. But I don't see a problem with having kids young. I don't want nobody to think that. I do think that it becomes an issue when it comes towards discipline. Right. And because if you're only 14, 15 years older than your child, when they become teenagers, you're only a couple of hours older than them. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So they're going to be like, really? I can't go to the club, but you can go to the club. So it's kind of like you got a double-edged sword. And that if you're a great teen parent, you have to sacrifice.
Yeah, definitely.
So I didn't want to have a child young because I did not want to sacrifice. I wanted to be stingy, and I'm okay with that. Right. I don't think any repercussions or anything like that, and I'm glad I was able to enjoy my life then, right. Considering that, my dad just passed away. If I would have had a child younger and I was selfish then I gotta, raise my children now, I have no real, support, but that's a different subject. But yeah.
Yeah, because even, just thinking about that sometimes, it's like you just said, if a child has a baby young, then they're missing out on a lot of their time where they could have been having fun. And sometimes, that can lead to regret on their behalf, or it can lead to the syndrome where it's a stereotypical grandma's mommy and mommy is Jan kind of situation.
Yeah, definitely. Most definitely. Child very rarely sees you. One of the videos that I saw, if you raise your children, you spoil your grandchild. But if you spoil your children, you're going to have to raise your grandchildren. Yeah. So it's like, makes a good point. Yeah. When you see your relationship between parents and grandchildren, you definitely know who got spoiled and who didn't. Yeah. Me, not spoiled at all. I don't care who's listening. It's a difference between being spoiled and spoiled.
True. True, very true. So, in closing, what advice, what inspiration, or what could you give to the listeners, especially the Black mothers out there, that any jewels that you could drop on them, or any advice you can give them?
Well, first and foremost, I am not a professional.
Right.
Seek professional advice if you need it. But coming from a single mom, watching single moms, I have learned that you definitely have to be selfish. That ain't got nothing to do with food. This has to do all with you. Now, if you have younger kids, you definitely need to seek a more stable support system. But if you got younger kids and kids who are able to do for themselves, I'll say 5 and older, you should definitely be selfish. Lock the door, turn the radio up so they can't hear you, you can't hear them. Go sit in your car, go for a walk. Just do something for yourself, whether it's 5 minutes or 5 hours. You have to disconnect. New moms especially. I remember closing my door in the room and my son was screaming at the top of his lungs. You would think he was on fire. He was laying there. That's it. Nothing was wrong with him. He wasn't gassy. He wasn't dry. He wasn't wet. He was dry. He had his bath. He had his bottle. He was just being a brat at that moment. Nothing was wrong with him. I just politely got up, closed the door, and went downstairs. And that's what you have to do. Take a breather. Separation.
Right.
Just like if you get frustrated at work, you take a break, you go back. So you have to think of life like that. It's an unpaid job. Without killing each other. What do you have any advice for single moms coming from a single father?
The only advice I can give, first I will start by saying that being a single father for some time, or co-parent, whichever way you want to say it, but having my youngest to myself and having to raise them, I salute single mothers out there.
Gracias.
You never know. It's one of those situations where you never know the struggle unless you go through it yourself. So, all praises due, salute, everything to the single mothers out there. And for like Miss MVP said, you got to be selfish with your time. And just, again, the biggest thing I can say is, even if you do have them young, or I know it can get very frustrated, especially if you have multiple kids and, you're trying to balance everything out. Definitely try to take time for yourself. And if you get overwhelmed, go back to your support system. And if you do not have a support system, then try to seek some professional help or reach out. I think there are some resources where you could probably get support in some form or fashion, Salvation Army or whatever, the case may be. But definitely at the end of the day, make sure your kids are in a good mental state. Make sure that they're taken care of to the best of your ability, as well as trying to take care of yourself to the best of your ability, whether it be through, just a quick moment of relaxation, whether it be that 5-10 minutes in the car before, you go inside the house after a long day at work. Just find those moments where you can have to yourself just so you can have that peace. Because not having that peace can lead to problems later on.
Channel your inner alcoholic. Call your spirits. Your spirits of choice, by all means, is very well needed. I'm going to give you your mental tip of the day. Like we said earlier, humble yourself. You have to humble yourself. It festers when you don't. If you need it, say it. If you need help, by all means, say you need help. The right people will not judge you.
Yeah.
The right people will help you. As an old saying is, people will help you when you're trying to help yourself. So please humble yourself. Money tip for the day, week, whatever day you're listening to it. Buy in bulk, people. Okay.
Story time.
No. It's no story time. Just buy in bulk, because you save a lot of time and money. You already know paper towels, toilet tissue, paper products. I should be more professional. Paper products and soap, things like that. You already know what you're gonna use.
Yeah.
Why you keep going to the store every other week to buy these things? If you can get 3 body washes for the price of 2 body washes, it's just like a sale, buy 2 get 1 free.
Yeah.
Just go ahead and pay. It looks weird when you're buying that much, but think about how much time you can save.
Yeah.
I use, not plugging no business, I'm sorry. I use this service that will say that has it's a website that will basically a subscription.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have to worry about now. I don't have to worry about when the paper products are coming. The only thing I have to worry about is remembering who the hell is charging my card. I'm like, oh, okay. And then I get an email an hour later saying, oh, your order is shipped. I'm like, oh, okay, that's what that charge was. Okay. So boom. So that's the only thing that I have to remember. But buy in bulk, people. That's all I got for today.
Okay. Well, thank you for listening into this episode. And if you have...
all I got to do.
Okay.
If y'all watched the inauguration, you got any pictures, I would love to see them. What's the Twitter handle? I'm under the influence.
The Twitter handle is @Convos in the Park. DA Park. It's
Little ratchet in the old Twitterverse.
Yeah.
Convos in the Park.
Yeah.
On Twitterverse. Yeah, I would love to see some pictures if you watched it or if y'all had an inauguration party safely, or if you have any exclusive behind the scene pictures or whatnot. I would love to see them. Tag us in it if you don't mind. We'll definitely give you your verbal credit for that if you don't mind.
Yes, and as always, again, like I was saying, if you got any stories that you would like to share with us, you can hit us up at Convos in the Park on Twitter. Hit us up on Facebook, or you can email us at convosinthepark@gmail.com.
Yeah.
Make sure to tell a friend to tell a friend. Let's get the word out there about not only this series, but the podcast itself. So again, if you enjoy it, please spread the word.
Yeah, if you have any content that you want us to speak on, I don't mind fact checking anything. I'm ready for it. Send me the information. I'm here.
Exactly. And as always, have you had that convo yet?
Good evening, good morning, and good night.
Why not? Catch you next time. Peace.